Hello?
You hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, and Danielle's on the call. The Premier's on the call as well. So, Premier, I wanted to just introduce this concept because I think, the UCP is not Arthur's enemy. It's the NDP. But he does have a problem that he thinks you may be able to help out with. So, Arthur, take it away.
Arthur, nice to talk with you. I'm not sure if we've ever had a chance to talk before, but I've been watching your public advocacy for many years, so it's nice to connect with you.
Well, we had an opportunity to talk to each other during the Wild Rose forming of the party many years ago. But if it comes to the latest ordeals, no, this is the first time. So I thank you so much for taking this time and listening to what is happening. As you are aware, I am still on house arrest, facing 10 and a half years of imprisonment for my speech in Quds. And of course, that's very concerning to me because I came to a conclusion that I don't think I have an option except to start swinging your way because of the promises that were never fulfilled.
Well, we're in a bit of a bind because of what happened with Jody Wilson-Raybould and the Prime Minister. Because what we've discovered in how our justice system works is I don't really have the power of clemency the way a U.S. president or a governor in the United States has. It's not quite the way our system works. Once the process is underway, I can ask our prosecutors, is there a reasonable likelihood of conviction? And is it in the public interest? And I assure you, I have asked them that almost weekly ever since I got started here. There have been a number of cases that have been abandoned at the last minute as they've gone through that assessment. And I'm very hopeful that that will be the case for more cases. But there isn't really a mechanism for me to order them to drop cases. It's complicated that way. It's just the way our legal system works, I'm afraid.
So here is the update on my case. I was hoping that the Crown prosecutor is going to do the right thing. However, he did. His name is Johnston, Stephen Johnston. He's from the Special Force of Prosecutors in the province of Alberta. He dumped on our laps over 1,000 pages document and hundreds of hours of testimonies to frustrate our defense. So the trial is in 3 weeks. I'm facing, like I said, a number of years if they would have their way. And instead of sitting down and resolving the problem, we had to hire an entire legal team, which will cost over $150,000 extra to come through this massive additional disclosure that we never had before. So obviously, the Minister of Justice, Tyler Chandra, is playing a game here, trying to cause us more harm and more grief, and Johnston is just following his directives. So I'm a little bit confused.
Let me check on that because I don't think it would be from the minister. I think the issue is that once the ball is rolling, these Crown prosecutors seem to be very independent, and we can only ask the two questions as I mentioned of you. So I doubt very much that this is being driven by the minister, but I have also raised it with the deputy minister and let him know my dissatisfaction with the tactics. So can you just leave this with me, and I will make that request one more time. My principal policy advisor, Rob Anderson, who's been doing most of my work with justice and pushing this along, he's not back from vacation until Monday. So we'll see if we can revisit that this week. We did just have a case, and Ezra told me about it, that there was a case where they did something along the same lines, huge document dump, and then they just abandoned the case. They didn't prosecute it the next day. So I'm watching to see evidence that they're going to come to this judgment that many of these cases are unwinnable and not in the public interest. And I'm beginning to see some signs that's the case. I haven't seen anything in your case yet, but if I can just maybe make that inquiry one more time, but I'll need until next week to be able to do that.
Okay, I'll be
All right.
looking forward to what you are able to find out.
Yes, I'm very sympathetic. I think this is very frustrating to me that we find ourselves. Everybody has moved on from COVID, and we're dealing with a bunch of charges. And this is the thing I find very frustrating is that it was a political decision that initiated this, but it can't be a political decision to end it. That's what I'm finding very frustrating about the whole thing.
Have you ever considered of going public, like you promised at the very beginning that you're going to meet with us, pastors, and there's going to be dropping of the charges and recompensation? Have you considered meeting with us publicly and saying, hey, let's move forward and enough of this witch hunt?
Let me talk to Rob about that. The problem is that's how the Prime Minister got himself in such hot water, is because he was in a position where he asked the same questions that I did, and then his Attorney General said, actually, it is in the public interest, and we are going to prosecute. And then he kept trying to push her to make a different decision, and then he ultimately fired her, and it just blew up as a big political issue because it's just not. We just have these conventions in our system. So I am trying to stay within the lines of asking them the appropriate questions. And the further we get away from the original decisions, the harder it is, in my opinion, to make the case that this is in the public interest or that there's a reasonable likelihood of conviction. So let me talk with Rob. I do rely on him since he's a lawyer. I do rely on him to give me some sound legal advice to keep me out of the ditch. So I don't want to commit to anything until I know what is actually possible. It's unfortunate that I didn't understand the limitations. I thought we probably had the same power of clemency that they did in the U.S. I didn't understand we have a lot more limitations. I'm not a lawyer by training. And that's, I can tell you, it's been very frustrating for me over these last few months because you're not the only one. There are many others, doctors as well, that I'm fighting this internal battle on too.
But I was contacted by a lawyer, Leighton Gray, if I remember correctly, and he told me that he advised you that there is already a victory in a court with NDPers when they brought the masking, and based on that victory, you can stop the prosecution immediately based on the judge's decision. And he said in that circumstances, you would walk out as a hero without taking a political hit because you would rely on the judge's decision that has already been made.
So let me get Rob to. Sorry, we've just had sort of these competing days off. So I was away, then he's away, and I'm back, and he's not back yet. I did see that I had received a note from Leighton in December. So let me see what I can do to run that by somebody who has kind of some legal training, and I'll see. Because I can't quite figure out how I would use that, but maybe it'll be a bit more clear if I run that through with Rob. So just give me a few more days to circle back on this, and maybe Dr. Modry can connect us again next week.
Okay, so
I just point out one thing as well. I did see that communique from Leighton as well, and it did seem as though that there was precedent that you might be able to rely on. My only suggestion would be it might not be a bad idea, Premier, to connect Rob and Leighton together.
Okay.
And I think that would be quite helpful. I think in this because like Arthur has just said, and you have, or you said, there are many others that are caught up in this, and I think there's a number of physicians that would love amnesty as well.
Fantastic. Let me circle back on that. As I said, Rob, I think, is back on Monday. So,
Sure.
And we just had a very busy fall session. So let me see what I can do, because I had hoped that some of these would have been vacated by now, and I'm sorry to hear what they're putting you through. So, Dr. Modry knows how to reach me. So we'll do this. We'll do this again when I've had a little bit more chance to talk it through with Rob.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Don't go away yet, Danielle. Okay. Arter, I don't think is on the call, but let me do this. Let me hang up and call you right back. Do you have time to link in with Randy for a minute? Randy Royer?